Hi, I'm Teri Robinson, Executive Editor at SC Media, and I have with me here today Bret Settle. He is the CEO and founder of ThreatX. Hey, Bret.
Hey, thanks.
Yeah, it's good to have you here.
Great.
So let's talk a little bit. It was interesting. We're talking about all the activity at Layer 7.
Yeah. Well, I think, we're looking at Layer 7 and we're seeing not just the core applications that most companies tend to protect, but we see that there's actually activity across, secondary and tertiary type of applications. And one of the unique things that we're finding is that while most people are only focused on 10 to 15% of their applications, it's actually the secondary and tertiary type of applications that get the most interest.
That's kind of alarming, though, 10 to 15%.
Yeah, and I think it really kind of goes back to the tools that were out there to protect Layer 7 in the past traditionally produced a ton of false positives, required a lot of rule tuning and effort, and therefore companies had to circle the wagons around really a smaller percentage of the applications that they knew they had to protect those core kind of crown jewels.
Do they understand how much they're leaving open?
I've seen the jokes out there before about the CEO who flops and the CISO who never actually sleeps because they know there's so much unprotected application space out there. And I think a lot of folks know it, but it's one of those things where you can only protect what you have the resources and the manpower or time to protect.
So let's talk a little bit about why are the peripheral apps so vulnerable?
Well, typically most organizations, they have multiple technologies, multiple application suites, and they've got a tier 1 group that is kind of where they like to put most of their new investment. Mm-hmm. They'll have their best and their brightest on that. But they've got other applications that have either been, around since legacy timeframes or acquisitions that they've either got third parties hosting it or they maybe don't have, their top tier resources on. And it's those applications, again, that, they're not being monitored as frequently. They're not being patched as frequently. They're not being monitored for new vulnerabilities that are coming out and tested properly, in some cases. And therefore, that's a prime spot for any hacker to come in and really focus on there first. That's where they can potentially find credentials. It's also where they can find potentially keys to how that particular organization manages its applications and how they actually, tips and tricks that they can use as they then move on to the other applications.
Okay, and that's some pretty dangerous information. Then.
Yeah, obviously that's one of the key tips for them to be able to further investigate through the tier 1 apps.
Okay, great. So, but then with apps, now we're seeing a lot of activity and a lot of the APIs are taking.
Yeah, I would say for us at least, the APIs is the fastest growing segment that we're looking at.
Okay.
And it's just simply because with mobile and with other application technologies that are out there, you're starting to leverage those APIs more and more and more. And so it's not just the circle around the application now, but it's the APIs that are being exposed across a much broader surface area.
Great. Well, thank you so much for spending some time
Sure.
with us here today. I really appreciate it. Teri Robinson with SC Media and Bret Settle with ThreatX.
Thanks.